Hi, everyone. My name is Rivaldo, and I am the host of the Backroom podcast. I'm very excited to start this journey with this wonderful episode I have, this wonderful person I interviewed. I think she has a story to share with the whole community, and I want to bring it out to the whole world, or I guess to the city, to, I don't know, whoever watches this episode. So I'm excited. I think I've learned a lot from like recording to. I really didn't do that much editing, so I can't say that. But it's a journey.
Cold opens or anything, like introducing the guest, or is it just going to be like fully?
Probably.
Yeah, that'd be probably like a less awkward way to be like, today I'm talking to
Yeah.
Valerie.
Hi everyone. Welcome to the brand new episode of the Backroom podcast. Today here I have a very special guest, Valerie. So I want to thank you first and foremost for saying yes to this opportunity. But let's get started. So Valerie, welcome again.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So yeah, I am from Casa Grande, and I own a salon in Casa Grande. So that's kind of like my main identity. That's what I probably talk about a lot. And I do eyelashes myself on a day-to-day basis. And yeah, yeah.
So what's the salon? What
My salon's called the Dollhouse.
Okay.
And then we do eyelash extensions, and then we have people there that do facials, teeth whitening, and waxing.
Okay. I might need some teeth whitening then.
Yeah.
So I might have to go in there and get some whiten my teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. What made you go into that profession or career or business?
So I started when I was 16, when I entered Cabot, so that that's a school where you're able to go to a trade school while you're in high school. So instead of doing electives, if you have all your elective credits, you can just decide to go to a trade school instead. So I picked beauty or cosmetology just because I liked the idea of leaving school for part of the day, and that seemed like doable. But whenever I was younger, I did see myself having like a hair salon or doing hair.
Yeah.
And even when I entered Cabot, I planned on doing hair. And then it wasn't until I really learned about the whole beauty industry that I saw like different avenues. And I ended up going with esthetician school after that. And then in esthetician school, I learned about lashes. And that was my first job after esthetician school, was working at a lash salon in Scottsdale. And that's where I decided I would stick with that for as long as I could.
Interesting. I mean, the trades are, I think, one of the number one things that I definitely recommend to a lot of young people, especially like for esthetician. I'm trying to get that word right.
Yeah, it'll take a couple years.
So, so trades, I think they're the number one, career if someone's trying, like, if they don't like school and, and they want easy money. I think trades are the way to go, especially for Cabot. But yeah, interesting. So I don't know, how do you say that since you were a young girl, were you always passionate about doing lashes?
No, I didn't know that lashes existed until I was in esthetician school. So when I was in high school, I had like one or two friends that would get their eyelashes done. And even that didn't make sense to me. I was like, how do you have money for that? But I thought it was only something that like rich people did. So then I learned about it in school. I took a training on it. And I took a training kind of thinking like, I looked at it as more of like a resume builder. Like if I want to get a job at a salon, it'll look better if I learn multiple skills, and they'll hire me on thinking like, we do need someone who knows how to do lashes. You got your job here. While I was doing other things within the salon, that's kind of how I pictured it. So that's why I paid extra to do the lash training. When I learned it, it was really, really difficult. So I was like, oh my gosh, I just wasted $800 learning this. I'm never going to get this down. And I don't like wasting money. At that time, I was 18, so $800 was a lot of money. I mean, that is a lot of money. That was all the money I had to my name. So I was like, my life savings, never gonna get this down. And so I wanted to go to a salon that specifically did eyelashes. That way I kind of forced myself to get better at it. I still thought I would end up doing something different after like a year of dedicating time to lashes. I just felt like I didn't want to waste the time that I had put in learning it to never learn it again. And then once I got my muscle memory down, a lot of lashing is muscle memory with your hands and working with such a tiny thing. Once I got the muscle memory down, then I was like, okay, I could do this forever. Hopefully I get to do this forever.
Yeah. So would you say that's the most difficult part, or what would you say the most difficult part about it? Because you said something that...
Yeah. So with lashing, like the skill, the most difficult part is getting down like the muscle memory of the micro movements in your hands. So when you're working with like 5 hairs, a small micro movement in your hand will change how the lash ends up getting placed. And that is a lot of frustration for students. Everyone says like, oh, that's got to require a lot of patience, which is true. It takes a lot of patience even to just push through the training part, because any small micro movement that you make will mess up your set and you'll have to restart. And every person has roughly 100 to 200 lashes on their lash line. So when you're doing something 100 times on one eye, you got to do both eyes. So 200 times in a session, having to restart is really frustrating. It takes, so if every single lash that you placed took multiple tries to get, you would take your set from a 2.5-hour set to a 4-hour set. So it's that's very frustrating in the beginning. And that's what a lot of students have to push through that phase. And that's what I had to do. So once I pushed through that struggle and my hands got used to working with it and moving my hands like extremely slightly to maintain the precision that it takes to place the lash. That is what you have to get down to be able to do it.
Interesting. I didn't know we have about like 200 lashes.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm gonna start counting them. I
Yeah,
think.
you'll have to.
I don't know. But yeah. I don't know. What are you most passionate about right now?
Right now, I'm most passionate about training students. So I would say after a year in, once I decided that I wanted to stick with lashes, I was actually really inspired by the person who hired me. So the owner of the lash salon where I worked, her name's Vanessa. So she had multiple salons where she trained girls, and then they took on their own lash clients, and a lot of the girls there got really, really good at lashes. So just in my first year, I was really inspired by that, and I thought that was really cool that by her owning these salons, she was kickstarting other people's careers. There was a space to grow. Like for me, I was not good when I was first hired, and it was a space for me to learn and get better to the point where I built my confidence up enough. So I did work there for about a year, and then I had enough confidence to go and start on my own. And another thing I got to do was cut out the drive from Casa Grande to Scottsdale every day. So an hour there and an hour back. So I ended up leaving that salon, but I sent her flowers. I told her thank you so much for being the reason why I get to do lashes now. And I was able to set up a suite of my own in Casa Grande. So anyways, what I'm passionate about now is training students to help them do the same thing, and hopefully be able to have their own careers and their own businesses and make their own schedule, make their own money. That's what I'm most passionate about.
Interesting. Nice. Going back to that, business, because you are a small business owner, it's like, what have you learned from that? Like, what do you, especially in a small town like Casa Grande, where it's like a lot of the businesses here are small businesses.
So being in a small town, I have learned that there's a little bit more pressure and a little bit, well, not a little, there's a lot more eyes on you when you open up a business in a small town. So that has a lot of pros and a lot of cons. So in my experience talking to other business owners, people who own places in bigger cities, talking to those people about like lashing and struggles and how do we advertise and our marketing. Your marketing strategy is very different when you're in a bigger area versus a smaller area. So I think word travels fast here. And if you're doing a great job and if you have great customer service, that's a really good thing. So people will quickly hear about this new place in town, especially if you're doing anything different, if it stands out in any way. And then of course that can be very bad if you are doing anything that would garner negative attention or negative opinions of your business. It just as beneficial as it is for people to spread good news about your business, it's also very detrimental if anyone has anything negative to say about your business. So there's a little bit of extra pressure to make sure every person that comes in contact with you has a really good experience. So that's what it's like owning a business in a small town. But yeah, it's definitely a benefit and can possibly be like a negative.
What would you say to some people that are thinking about starting a small business?
I would say to really get to know yourself a lot. So like for me, I struggled a lot with confidence, and I knew that I wanted a business, but I had a really hard time like having conversations with people who I considered already established. Like even when I was looking for my salon space, and I was going and looking at places, I felt really like shy with the person who was going to rent me a building. So in situations like that where I was trying to level myself up, I knew that I was lacking in confidence, and I had to really work on that confidence if I wanted to get anywhere further in life. So that's what I worked on a lot. I started therapy when I was 19, and very intentionally worked on confidence. And after a couple years of that, like every 2-week, hour-long sessions working on confidence and why I don't have it, it started being effective. So I would say just knowing yourself and really being honest with yourself and analyzing like where you're lacking in skill set, especially like there's hard skills and there's soft skills. Hard skills are really easy to learn. That's going to be like your lashing, getting better at retention. Those you can pay somebody to teach you, and you can learn it in a day or two. And then your soft skills, like your conversation skills, the way you connect with people, those take a little bit more effort to build. So I would try to analyze where you're lacking in your soft skills and build that to have a successful business.
Interesting. Nice. Yeah, I definitely, that's kind of why I want to start this podcast, right? Because those conversation skills are a little bit more difficult to build.
Yeah.
And I think throughout the episodes that I'm going to be recording, I'm going to be building those conversation skills.
Editing yourself is going to help you build that a lot too. You're going to be like, what is wrong with me?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's going to make me a better speaker and things like that. But I think that's something that people definitely, work on a little bit more, right? Especially because I think a lot of us like to talk. So, yeah. I guess, who's been the biggest influence in your life?
So I like that question. I think an obvious answer would be like my parents. I think that'd be a lot of people's answer. So like my parents, I feel like what I really admire about them, looking back especially, obviously I didn't realize this in the moment, but I think my parents taught me a lot about like keeping your word. So I can't, like when my parents would commit to something like helping at the church, or they help the church a lot. That's something they do a lot. They definitely commit, they definitely show up, and it's never been an option to like not keep your word. Of course, they always like kept their word with us. They're very honest people. So I think that is super important in business. And I didn't know that like not everyone does that until I was in business working with other people. So I'm really glad that I just observed that skill in life, and I really prioritize like keeping my word to people, even in times when I'm like, oh, why did I agree to do this set for free? I do not want to work for free today. Like what? But when I give my word, I make it happen, and that's always been a good thing to do. Another thing that specifically that stands out to me when I was younger that my dad would always say was he would always say like, don't make it hard for people to give you money. So he would I remember him saying that a couple of times throughout my life. It would kind of be in passing, like if a store was closed when they said they were open, he'd be like, oh, why are these guys making it hard for me to give them money? And whenever we started getting jobs, like when I was a waitress, he was like, don't make it hard for people to give you money, like make it easy. So in business, I think that I do that. Like I try to I have an online platform. People can find me on multiple social media platforms. I try to meet the consumer wherever they're at. I try to put my face in their face all the time. So that's why I'm always making content, and I really prioritize it. And I've learned to love it. So a lot of people say like, I just can't make content like you. I don't know how you do it. And like, I think what people are missing there is that like, I don't always want to, but it's never really been an option to not do it if I want to own a business. So just trying to make it easy for people to find me, easy for people to support my business, give me money, never like canceling on people or running late with people. Stuff like that is kind of where that saying comes into play. Like, don't make it difficult for people to give you money. Don't give them obstacles because they're going to have to go find someone else to do their lashes or some other salon to work at if yours is always having an issue. Just apply it to wherever in life.
Yeah. I mean, a couple questions from that. I mean, mainly if you want to start content and things like that, just start posting. And, it's going to be like, sometimes you're not going to want to, and sometimes you are. But it's like, how badly do you want it? That's what I think sometimes. But yeah, you said something about the faith and the church and everything. How do you think that comes into your business?
Yeah, so I grew up very much a church kid, as you know.
Yeah, and then
I was always at the church, and we were taught a lot about like service, serving the community, always saying like put other people above yourself. So I think that's where I learned a lot of my work ethic too. I do credit that, like the retreats and the youth group,
and that's
all
where
those
we
things.
met and things. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is where I learned like get the job done before you worry about feeling like it or not wanting to. The worst thing you could do is like drop the ball on that. So unfortunately, there like like I mentioned, therapy, like then you over therapize yourself, and there are ways that you kind of your self-worth needs a little bit of tweaking. You have to improve your self-worth a little bit when you are taught to put everyone else before yourself. But it is really beneficial in business when you don't see yourself as higher than anybody else, and you can prioritize your client's comfort or the customer schedule before your own. Like for my clients, a lot of my clients I know really well at this point. So I know their work schedules. I know like, okay, I cannot move her because she does her lashes at 7 a.m. and she does her nails at 9 a.m. I can't move this appointment because that would push back her nail appointment. So knowing like learning how to serve people from a very young age benefits me now in business in the way that it comes naturally to me to like put other people before myself. And then you become an adult and you do the work of like also valuing yourself and having boundaries when there needs to be boundaries. And having boundaries is also just a way of showing love and being easier to work with when you're not allowing people to step on you, and then you don't end up with resentments. So the church did play a role in me learning that, putting other people before myself. But then I just had to fine tune like not building resentments and upholding boundaries that make logical sense to the day-to-day operations of running a business.
How do you know, or how do you build those boundaries, between like work and personal life and
I think
church?
a lot of it just has to come from logic. So logically speaking, like I can't let everybody take advantage of my business, because especially if they're like money costing advantages, because then there's no business. So like, for example, just like an easy boundary that's like most people have is like cancellation fees or deposits. And it's not to be mean. It's not to be like, I'm going to charge you because I'm mad at you because you had to cancel. It's like, logically speaking, I can't run a business if there's no money coming into the business. So if there's time taken on the schedule and then no money is made for that time, that if that happens too often, then the business is going to start to fail, and then the whole dollhouse is gone. So having a deposit, like a non-refundable deposit, having your clients read policies before they come in, like on the booking site when they book, a cancellation policy, having that in place, or a no-show policy. And then I make it my job to uphold those things. So for my clients, their job isn't to like know all my boundaries. It's just my job to like uphold them. So I feel like sometimes people get that word confused because they want everyone to navigate the world patting them and like protecting them. But really it's our job to protect ourselves. So it's my job to enforce those things. That's just a really easy example. But sometimes it's like the overextending, like, is it logical for me as a business owner who needs to run a successful salon and needs to keep all my clients happy and needs to like maintain my mental health so that I'm not going off on people or blowing up. That's something that can't happen. So, is it logical for me to overextend myself in a scenario when I don't really need to? No, because then cause and effect, other things will fall when I'm not uploading my own boundaries.
Yeah, I mean, there's a theme in all this, and how do you like, with your mental health? What are some self-care routines that you take care of yourself?
So I do go to therapy, and what I call therapy is
Yeah.
seeing my soul coach, and I see her every 2 weeks. I look forward to it, and that's something I cannot miss. So even if I'm low on funds, if I have to skip out on a nail appointment or a lash appointment, I would gladly skip out on that more than like
Yeah.
seeing my coach and working on myself. Because now that I'm 25 and I've been seeing the same person working on that since I was 19, it's like so easy now because I feel like she knows me better than anybody else on earth. She's seen a lot of dark stuff come out of my brain. So more than my parents, more than my siblings, stuff that you don't share with people whose opinion you want to uphold and who you care like what they think about you, I've shared with her. So that's my number one thing, is that every 2 weeks I'm in there, we're talking, even if I have nothing to talk about, even if I'm like, life is good, then she's like, I'm sure it is. Let's go deeper. So that's my main one.
There's always something that you can talk about and share. Yeah.
And then I also I really try to respect my time off. Although lately I've been working really hard on like growing the salon more than my own lash business, but actually getting like the dollhouse out there more. So I'm kind of a hypocrite in saying that because I have been working on my days off a lot, but I understand cause and effect. And I know that I'm mindful of it now to where I'm like, okay, like relax a bit. Like I need to, like tomorrow's Sunday. Tomorrow's my last Sunday off before I'm training students for the next 3 Sundays. So tomorrow I will be like stapling myself to the couch, like forcing myself to stay home and do nothing or go shopping or do something fun, just because I know if I don't do something fun tomorrow, then I'm going to be in a bad mood by the time Sunday comes when I actually have people paying me a lot of money to train them. So even when I am overextending myself in that way, I'm doing it with the cognizance of like what happens when I'm not aware of it. And then it just creeps up over time. And then I'm like, why is everyone annoying to me now? But it's like stuff, nobody else is changing. Nobody else is doing anything. It's just me not properly taking care of myself.
Yeah. You feel burnt out or something.
Yes. Like, when people start feeling like a burden, when I start being like, oh my gosh, what do you want now? And it's like a simple question. That's when I'm like, okay, that's more of me not taking care of myself, not the person's question that should be bothering me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, do I have anything? Let's see. No, I had another question.
So I do want to touch on like the influences question. What influences I've had in life.
Yeah.
So my parents are one of them. The church and my upbringing in that is another one. And this is kind of random, but I do like talking about this. I also am really, really like influenced and role modeled by drag queens. That's a weird answer, but when I was 16, I first started watching RuPaul's Drag Race, and I was really, really entranced by that. And I think I've loved them since the minute I saw them. I love the show RuPaul's Drag Race, but now I'll go see like local drag, and I know a lot more of the queens just here in Arizona that aren't on a show. What I really, really like about drag queens is their commitment to like excellence. And I know that sounds weird hearing that as if you're someone who doesn't watch drag queens.
Yeah.
But as someone who is generally very cast out from society and very not only not catered towards, a lot of society doesn't cater to drag queens, but they even judge and put down drag queens. They still have such a commitment to excellence in their craft. And if you really watch the show, like their makeup and they're making the clothes, making their own outfits, putting together their own dance numbers, sometimes writing their own music, performing their own music. Their commitment to just being at the top of their craft just because they love it is very admirable to me. That I feel like that's how I view everything I like to do now. Like lashes, just I want to be the best just because I love it, not because anyone's forcing me or I'm gonna get in trouble or I'm not gonna have clients if I'm not the best. It's more so just like, okay, I'm going to travel to take this training because I want to learn this skill and I want to build, I want to continue being the best. And I think I barely realized this like last year. Actually, I started reading RuPaul's book last year, and RuPaul is like, that's a mother to me. If just feeling like I should be performing at my best just for myself if this is something that is worth doing to me. So I think I got that a lot from watching drag queens when I was younger, and if they can be so judged and so looked down upon and still push through and become successful, like Trixie Mattel or a Bob the Drag Queen, they're generally like household names. Not to you maybe, but in general, they're kind of household names. RuPaul, with a lot of things stacked up against them, and I don't have that many things stacked up against me. I'm a girl in a field run by women. And I live in a small town where people do have a decent impression of my salon. So I don't even have that many obstacles stacked up against me the way a drag queen would, or a gay man who wants to dress as a woman would. So I should be able to do whatever I set my mind to if they can. That's another one of my big influences.
I've seen clips of it on TikTok, but I might have to add it to my list. I don't know.
I think you do.
After this, go and binge.
They're going to teach you a lot about excellence.
Yeah. So, and something I need to work on too.
Right.
That's interesting. Kind of going back, how do you feel like you build connections with your clients?
So this is there's kind of an art form to conversation that I've picked up over the years. And I think a lot of building connection has to do with asking questions about the other person. So that's what I try to do more of. I try to do a lot more my client talking to me than me talking about myself to the client, and just asking follow-up questions and asking about things that they're passionate about. Like, I need to know, are you signing your son up for soccer this year or not? I need to know, me as your lash girl. Obviously, I don't need to know that, but like just asking them about things that make them happy and make them light up that they want to talk about, or like asking them about that Vegas trip that they told me they were going on last weekend. Like, what happened? Did you go to a concert? What did she do? That's crazy. Not that I'm being fake about it, but just that I'm asking people about things that they want to talk about instead of talking about myself. And then the other side is some clients don't want to talk. Some people do have, like for me, like I noticed like my clients with young children who are used to like a loud environment, if they can even carve out an hour for themselves every 2 weeks, which a lot of moms can't, but if they can, like the ones that come and see me, they might want that quiet time. And so some of my clients who have been seeing me for years, we're just quiet the whole time. Yeah. And I think even that is a connection in the way of I'm reading what they need, and I'm not saying like, anyways, let me tell you about my boyfriend. He's coming to visit. Like, I'm not making them listen to my stuff. It's just a lot about like reading what the client needs, and you kind of have to get good at that. It's kind of a skill you have to build. So that's what you have to do as an artist to build connection.
So like whenever I go to the barber shop, I get my haircut. It's like, I'm like, it's like I have two barbers, right? A lot of people say they can't cheat on their barbers. They have to go to the same one over and over again. Do you think that's the same thing with lash techs or no?
No, I just feel like it should be whatever's convenient to the person with money in their hands.
Yeah.
So for me, I only want my clients to see me if it's convenient for them that week. I don't own them or the money that they're paying me.
Yeah.
So I don't get offended if they need to go to somebody else. Sometimes like I told you, I'm upholding I try to uphold my days off. So if a client needs Sundays and I'm either off on Sundays or training students on Sunday, but I don't take clients on Sundays, and if they need a Sunday appointment, they might need to go see somebody else. And that matters to me. It matters to me more that it's convenient to their schedule because they're the ones who are paying for it than what benefits me. And I think that probably also comes from a lot of like working on myself. It would hurt my feelings. I wouldn't say, because of my struggle with self-worth and confidence, I don't think I operate from an angry standpoint generally. So I wouldn't get angry when people would go see someone else. I would just get kind of sad and low on myself when I would see that my clients would leave and go to someone else in the beginning. So I would see my client on like another girl's Instagram, and that would kind of send me in a spiral of like feeling like I'm terrible at what I do. Not angry with the client, but more like, what did I do wrong? I got to start from scratch and learn everything new because I must be terrible. So that's kind of the mindset I would have when people would like cheat on me in the past. But now
Yeah.
I've worked really hard on that mindset.
Yeah.
So I don't really take offense when people have to go see someone else, or sometimes there's times when my schedule's kind of hard to get into. So I understand for someone who doesn't have a set schedule at work. Like this is a good example. If I have a client who gets their schedule the week of and they don't know when their day off is until the week of, and I sometimes don't have appointments the week of, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I can't expect them to like miss their work because they had to schedule their appointment 3 weeks ago. That would be unreasonable. And it would also be unreasonable to expect me to drop what I'm doing and get you in at any hour of the night.
Yeah.
So they might have to see somebody else who has an easier schedule to get into or a schedule that works with them better. So I don't think the cheating thing is
No.
a problem. I think it should
think-
just make sense to you who you go to.
Yeah, I think it's a guy thing, but I definitely have two barbers or three occasionally. I have my high income barber and then I have my low income barber.
Okay,
So,
okay.
I don't know. So whenever I'm feeling low income, I'll go to my low
That makes
income
sense
barber.
too.
Yeah.
I could even see like sometimes you go to Great Clips, sometimes you have a little bit of extra money, you go somewhere else. Like that.
Yeah.
That's understandable for me.
Or I need I need a nice haircut. Someone who's taking their time, and things like that. So
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah. I mean, if you weren't doing Lash Tech, what's something else that you would be doing?
So now that I've had to learn content because I have to post content for my business, I've learned how to like it. So I think now that I know that, I would like to be like a content creator for a business. Like I would like to run ads for them and follow leads and answer messages about scheduling. That's something I would really like to do. I actually started a job this week making content for a salon up in Phoenix, which has been really fun. The only hard part is that it is time consuming considering the fact that I didn't have much room in my schedule anyways, but it sounded really fun. And I try to follow like things that sound fun to me right now if I have the privilege to do it. So I have been a little bit extra busy this month with working on content for them, but it's really fun. Like when I'm done with the piece of content, I'm like, this is so cute. I can't wait to post it for them. I kind of wish this was done for my salon, but I don't have the energy to do that now. But so my other dream job, now that I am aware of it, would be like making content for businesses. But I wouldn't have known that existed like when I was 18 or 19.
Yeah.
But now that I know that I really like it, that would be my other dream job.
That would be, yeah. There's something different about it because it's like it's like once you post it, it's like, oh, I made that. It's like, so it's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, that's what I would have done if I would have known something content creator, like behind the scenes. I'm really into sound engineering.
Yeah.
I like that. So I don't know. That's where I got the name for the Backroom podcast. I like the behind the scenes.
Yes. I think still, I mean, even though you say you didn't know that existed, even now that people will be aware that you know how to work a camera and you know how to work mics, like this is stuff, if you're like a 40-year-old business owner who's really passionate about selling cars, you do not want to learn camera work and microphones. So like, I think that could still be a very viable option for you to start getting work like that.
So, I mean, I'll see where it takes me and things like that. I mean, what's his name? Colonel Sanders didn't start until like 54.
Period.
Open KFC.
There you go.
So maybe I'll, I'll be 50. I'll start in my own studio, recording studio. I don't know. Yeah. Let's see. What do we got next? Let's see. Think. No. Anything else you want to add? I don't know. You can't think of.
No, I like that you're doing this. This is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's. I mean. Yeah.
I
I
hope
was
it goes
nervous
well.
on the drive over here. Because I only have like the first 3 episodes kind of lined up. I'm like, I don't know. It's like, but I mean, I know I'm gonna work on each episode. It's gonna be different, so it's not gonna be perfect. So
doesn't matter. You know more than the average person. So.
Yeah, so I have to start somewhere. I know that. Yeah, I think you mentioned reading. Is that another hobby you like? as well, reading or
So I'm really
or
into
what other
pop culture.
pop? Mm-hmm.
So I like reading celebrity memoirs. I really like that. And I mean, I love celebrity podcasts. I am like I feel like if people, a lot of people who learn like how into celebrities I am, it's kind of like an eye roll because it's like, dang girl, like why do you, they don't care about you. Why do you care so much about celebrities? But I just find their lives so interesting, like the lifestyle of having all those eyes on you. So I love celebrity memoirs. Those are the only books that I read. I never connected very well with reading like business advice books. I do a lot of like business coaching. I go to business seminars, conferences all the time, all throughout the year. So I'll learn that by taking notes like when a speaker is talking. I don't I don't have an easy time keeping up with a book with that. So for me, I like reading celebrity memoirs. That's my thing right now. I just finished Bunny XO's memoir. You know Bunny? Jelly Roll's wife?
Yeah.
That one was really good. Yeah, I like celebrity memoirs. I like learning
that's
about
nice.
what it took, what kind of life they led in order to get to like a
To get where
crazy
they're at.
spotlight, one percenter kind of vibe.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, it's crazy to think because it's like, you know, they're just like us, you know?
Yeah.
And then, I mean, they had to start somewhere, you know?
Yeah, I really
So-
like RuPaul's book. That one really stayed with me because he had such humble beginnings and so much mental health within his family and his mom and his dad.
Yeah.
And there's a story in RuPaul's book about him having to sleep on a bench because he didn't have enough money to get home. And that I'm just like, and he's RuPaul now, and he's not that old, and he's been RuPaul since the '90s. And yeah, that just really it just reminds me like if they could get through whatever adversities they got through to get to where they're at, and I'm not even trying to become a RuPaul. I'm just trying to own a successful salon. Then I can totally own a successful salon if I could keep talking about RuPaul. Also, he grew up very shy.
Yeah.
He was very, very shy and very nervous and self-conscious, and he just pushed through it because he wanted to make music. So that too, it was just like, I can't believe this shy, lanky, tall, gay kid ended up being RuPaul's Drag Race, and like the CoverGirl song.
Yeah.
That was big in the '90s. The first, I think, male model for MAC, MAC Cosmetics was RuPaul. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, no, I enjoy watching those podcasts, especially I love watching the Hot Ones podcast with Sean Evans.
Yes. Yeah.
So I like him interviewing celebrities, and he does so much research on them.
Yes, and he's
he
so like
has-
free flowing. It's so, I feel like every celebrity loves him. That's really cool too. They're not like, oh, I have to do this press. And
they're eating wings.
even when he's interviewed, he talks about how he has to make it a good interview because he's torturing them with the wings. So it's like I have to compensate somewhere. So I feel like even that self-awareness, like it's important to be self-aware. He's aware that he is torturing people with wings. So how am I going to compensate for that? So like that's a lesson right there for life.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, when I was, you know, going through my business plan and just like drawing out my podcast and everything, I was like, you know, I want something like his podcast, but what can I do? It's like he's already doing wings. I was thinking, I don't know, spicy tacos.
Right,
maybe?
right.
I don't know.
Yeah, even like mukbangs, like you could just get food with your interviewee, and
Yeah, so we'll see. Yeah, no, I'm gonna travel back in time a little. I know a couple years back you actually started a podcast. Where did that kind of lead you, or did that?
So I started a faith-based podcast. It was called Beauty in the Bible because when I was really into the Bible, and like I mentioned, realizing that a lot of my work ethic came from like the church background that I had. I just saw so many tie-ins between the service industry and then like how God calls us to serve. So I wanted to have a podcast to talk about that. I did get uncomfortable with the amount of feedback I would get in person, actually, which is weird because you would want people to watch your podcast. I'm sure you want people to watch this. But when people would tell me about it in person, I would kind of get really uncomfortable, and I'd be like, "Oh, you watched that?" Like, I don't know. I don't really know because I'm talking about like very emotional things that mean a lot to me, and I don't know if I want like some guy that I hardly talked to in high school like watching my podcast. But that's the point of making one. So I think I realized like if that's how I'm gonna feel about it, I'm gonna get like uncomfortable. Maybe I shouldn't.
Yeah.
And two, I also don't think I'm so I kind of started it as like an open dialogue, and like I was learning more about how these things connected and intertwined. So I wanted to just like verbalize. I saw it as like an opportunity to like learn as I spoke about it, like just open up dialogue. And then I felt like the way I got a reaction from people, I got like some interesting emails and some different reactions in person from people. And I was like, I think people are interpreting this as me thinking I'm like an authority on this subject.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be that at all, especially because I'm probably wrong about things. And so it got harder and harder to make the episodes, and I got more like edited. So I
Yeah.
would say don't do that. Don't get too in your
Don't
head
get
about
too-
editing.
Yeah.
I was watching what I was saying and kind of like, oh, people are listening to this as though I'm like an authority on this topic, and I don't want to be an authority on this topic. I just wanted to like learn as I spoke about it,
As
which
you
I'm
spoke,
like,
yeah.
maybe that's not right. Maybe you shouldn't be like learning things as you're coming up with episodes about it. So I was also questioning things in my faith and how much I resonate with that after working on like a lot of shame and guilt and untying those things. And some of those had religious ties to them with the shame and the guilt
Yeah.
on a deeper level. So I was just like struggling a lot with that. And I just know I didn't want those thoughts to be heard anymore.
Yeah.
I was like, I have a lot to figure out. I'm going to keep this to myself.
Yeah.
now.
Keep it to and then to yourself and your soul coach as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
a lot, very much. But I did like learning how to edit. I liked learning about mics. I liked filming, and I also got better at speaking, hearing myself speak.
Yeah.
So there was benefits to it. I think I'm happy with where it's at. Like I haven't deleted all the episodes. I'm not embarrassed of them. I'm not like never talk
It's
about that
just-
again. I'm just like I think I've said enough, and I don't think I want to
Yeah.
share anymore.
Yeah. It's a good learning experience or something you went through. Yeah. So, I mean, later, would you come back to it? Like,
Probably not.
No.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't feel like I also am not like super Catholic anymore, not super into Catholicism. Love God, love all that. So I don't know what I'm doing with my faith.
Yeah.
So I don't really want to speak on the topic
No.
as somebody who knows what they're doing, because I don't.
Yeah. No, makes sense. Yeah. Let's see. I guess final question. And again, thank you, right? But if you could give one piece of advice for people trying to open up a small business or maybe pursuing lash techs, right? What advice would that be?
Well, I definitely think you should know yourself and know your weak points, and then fine tune those things. But when it comes to like starting a lash business, I would say definitely just tangible piece of advice, like get on social media. Even if you're not good at it, even if you feel cringy, just like reminding people that you exist is really important for a business, especially if you want people to spend money on anything that you're doing. You have to be kind of reminding them that you exist. So just remembering that like people's day-to-day life goes on, even if they like you, even if you're their cousin, even if they think it's cool what you're doing, they're not going to be thinking about you on a daily basis when like their car doesn't start or something crazy is going on in their day. They're really not going to be thinking about your small business. So you have to like remind them that your business exists. So that's all I've used social media as. Another add-on to that is I would say like I wouldn't worry about the numbers or the views, because I always tell my students like if a post has 5 likes but it gets you 1 or 2 clients, that's like money in your bank account. It doesn't matter if it's embarrassing that it only got 5 likes.
Yeah.
And for me, like I have some posts that hit really, really well, and I have some posts that like flop. I don't consider them flops, but like actually coincidentally on my lash page, my lash posts actually don't perform nearly as well as like my silly comedic posts. So I'll have posts that have like 20,000 likes, which is awesome, but it puts $0 in my bank account because it was just like me being silly, a silly lash meme that people are sharing. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm dead. This is so funny. But it doesn't put any money in my bank account. Whereas my post where I posted lashes, it might have only got 30 likes, but people were like, oh, I want this set. And it's actually like sometimes my clients will be like, oh, I want this set you just posted. And I'm like, oh, I thought that set was a flop because nobody was liking it. So
Yeah.
that's also taught me, I guess, just the in-person feedback of like me thinking like, okay, nobody liked that post. Like, I guess those lashes don't look that good, but I'm gonna leave it up. I liked them. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then my clients will be like, I want that I want that set that you just posted. And I'm like, oh, people did like it. It just wasn't
Yeah, it
interesting enough to
wasn't.
like or comment on,
Mhm.
which is fine. So I feel like just reminding people you exist, for me, like reminding people that I do lashes. I'm not just a jester on Instagram. That's all I need. So I don't really need the numbers to look amazing.
Yeah.
And the numbers aren't going to put money in your bank account. There, you could get 1 million likes on a post if it's just relatable, cute, wholesome content. That still doesn't mean anyone's coming into your business. So just focus more on like getting posts out there than getting posts that like do numbers.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, a question that came up from that was, reminding your family, your friends, that you have a small business, but how do you, do you feel like your family and your friends are very supportive of that business, or do you have a mixture of like both that are like?
I would say family and friends aren't the ones that are contributing money to the business. They're definitely. I don't mean to sound like they don't support, because
Yeah.
they do, and they root for me. They say, "Go see my cousin for lashes. I love her." Or like my mom comments my name, and but they're not going to be the people that bring in all the profits. And then I don't have the experience of people actually like making fun of me or to my face. I'm sure people have, not to my face, but I don't have people who actually like put me down or told me like, don't do that. So I can't imagine what that feels like, but I can say that even if my family members aren't like paying money for me to do their lashes, the strangers are usually going to be the ones that do that. So even in my situation where no one put me down or talk smack about me having it,
Yeah.
just because they're not spending money doesn't mean that like they're not supporting, and it's still going to be strangers that are your primary support system, and that's just how it works. I think that's a good sign if you have more strangers supporting your business than family and friends, because that means that you're kind of getting the reach that a business should be getting. So I don't have any expectation attached to friends and family supporting my business. They don't have to, and
Yeah.
they're nice. They're nice about it. They're not like putting it down by any means.
Yeah.
But it's mostly strangers that are actually getting the sets.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, because it's like, my family is always going to be supportive of what I do, but I think, like I've told some of my gym friends and then a couple strangers about this podcast I'm starting. They're all like, they're excited, like they want,
Yeah, that's
and
awesome.
they're more. I feel like a lot of times they're more supportive, yeah, than like those close friends. But yeah, like I said, I don't want to make it seem like my family's not supportive, because they are. Yeah, um, that's cool.
Do you feel like your family gets it? Are they like, okay, like confused by the podcast thing, or are they like 100%? I get it.
I don't know. I think they're a little confused.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I told them, it's a hobby,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I want to start something.
Yeah.
It's a hobby right now. I'm not saying it's gonna be my full-time job. I want to
think
see
that's
where
perfect,
it takes me.
because it's just like having fun with it.
Yeah.
It's just like a hangout, but with the camera.
Yeah.
And questions.
Yeah. So I mean, like I only have 7 episodes. Let's say it's like a season 1 almost premiere.
Yeah.
If after those 7 episodes I want to continue, I'll continue doing episodes. But we'll see where it takes me. Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, thank you, Valerie.
Thank you. Thank you for all your
this
questions.
was nerve-wracking. I was like driving over
You
here,
did
and I was
good.
like, I did good. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Cool. Well, thanks for anybody who watched and listened, and this was fun.
Yeah. And then I'll make sure to, in the description, I'll make sure to put your Instagram handle and everything for the dollhouse. So, yeah.
Cool. So we're done now? Okay. Are you going to do like